Hi there. Hi everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm Jordan, product specialist here at Airplane. I hope everyone is fine. Just let me know in the chat if we can hear me. If you can hear me, just let me know if everything is working fine. Okay, sounds like it's working. Well, thank you everyone. We are off for about 40 minutes to discuss the topic of restocking. So, what you can expect out of this presentation, first, a reminder about two fundamentals that are the stock levels and multi-location feature. We will see how these two features work in Airplane. Hopefully, at the end of this presentation, you'll be able to take full advantage of the reorder features. We will remain pragmatic. You will leave with tools. We will see different scenarios of restocking, and you will be able to choose the one that suits you best. And finally, you will learn methods to avoid stock shortage and to monitor your inventory valuation. So before we start, I inform you that our team is available in the chat to answer all your questions. So do not hesitate to send them your question as we go. I'll also take a few minutes at the end of the presentation to answer some of them. So if you have just so you know, if you have not received a response from us during the webinar through the chat, or if I did not answer some questions, do not worry. We are committed to getting back to you with an email. So let's go. I'll share my screen. So let's go. So let's start with two basics, which are the multiple stock levels. So I'd like to start with this because having a good understanding of how the stock levels work will enable you to know the impact of your actions on your inventory. And the second thing I'd like to talk as an introduction is the multi-location feature. That is not an obligation to replenish your inventory, but it can be very useful for several reasons. So I'll detail which one, and we'll see how restocking can work if you already have several locations on your account. So for the stock levels, let me open the inventory menu here and go to the stock levels. So this is your stock levels. This is where you can check on your inventory. And you'll see one thing that is very special with Airplane is you have access to four different stock levels that are here on the right of your screen. So you can see we have the on-hand stock level, which is what we have physically at the warehouse. If we were to go at your warehouse, this is what we would be able to count. We have the reserved inventory. So this one is based on sales orders that you create. So anytime you create a sales order, it creates a reservation, and all these reservations, these reserved quantity are logged into the reserved stock level. We have the available inventory, which is the difference between on hand and reserved. So if we take, for example, this value minus this one, we get to the available inventory. And then we have one that is interesting in particular for us today. It's the incoming stock level. So this incoming stock is related to all the quantities that were added to a purchase order, but are not yet delivered to your warehouse. So these are quantities that you can expect to receive in the future. So typically, one scenario where you could definitely use the stock levels is, for example, you get a call from a customer and you want to know when you'll be able to receive new quantities of a certain products. You can certainly go to the stock levels. Click here on incoming quantities. You will just select the right product, of course. But if you click on incoming, you'll get to see the shipping dates, the purchase orders, so that you can answer the question of your customers. By the way, for some of you that may be using our platform, the B2B store, just know that you have this option to display the incoming stock level on the B2B store as well. So they might not give you a call, but at least if you're already using the system, which is a e-commerce platform for B2B, just know that you have this option available on the B2B store. Of course, here on this account, I have several locations created already. So this is my global stock level. But if I were to, for example, and that's the case here, have different locations, I'll be able to see in details what I have in the different locations. So you can see this is the global number, and just below we have the detail of the various locations. We have also the filters that enable you to see what's in the different locations. So I can apply a filter and say, for example, I just want what's in my showroom. I'll apply and I'll get to see just what is in the showroom location. So talking about these different locations, you have this possibility with Erplain to manage multiple locations. Typically, if you need to create locations, other locations, you'll be able to do that from the settings here. Under settings, we have the menu locations. This is where I can see the existing location, but also create new ones. So of course, these locations can be physical places. It could be like a warehouse, it could be a showroom, it could be your office. So any storage room can be a location. It could be also a sales location. It could be also a location where you are to receive quantities of products. So it can be physical places, but it could also be virtual locations. For example, you could have a scenario where you are selling in two different you have two different channels. You have, for example, a Shopify store for B2C commerce, and then you're using Airplane for B2B, and you want to separate these two channels and use two different locations for each one. You may also use virtual location, for example, if you do have a situation where you need zoning. So you have one warehouse but different zone in the same warehouse. You could also use these virtual location to track markdown. So if you have any broken items and you want to log these broken items into specific locations and keep on tracking inventory valuation for these broken items, you can do that through a second location as well. So as you can see, multiple different scenario where you could use another location. So just so you know, this is not something that is an obligation for for making restocking operations, but nonetheless, this is here, and this might be useful for your business as well. So let's go to the main point. Let's get to the art of the matter, how to manage restocking. So I'd like to start with a simple method that is probably the most straightforward to create a purchase order. So what we'll do here, we'll create a purchase order, and we will receive these quantities of ordered goods we'll add them to our inventory. So let's do that. So we go to the purchase order here, and we can see here we have a list of existing purchase orders. So this is where I would go if I needed to create a new purchase order. I can click here on create to generate a new purchase order, but also anywhere from Airplane, you have the quick access menu right here. This will enable you to save some click. So if we go, for example, here on purchase order, it takes me directly to the creation form, so to the purchase order form, and I can create a new document through this quick access menu. That's really useful. So let's go. Let's select a supplier Here, just for information, we have the section configuration with the currency, the tax rate, and the price level of the transaction I'm about to create. Just know that there is something that might be helpful to do before even getting to the creation of a new purchase order, and that is to go to the supplier card and add all the default information that we call detailed information about a supplier, and that could be a default tax rate, that could be a default currency, and this will really help you save some time when you get to the creation of the actual order. These are information that will get picked automatically, and you will save a great amount, a great deal of time when you create the purchase order, and you will avoid making mistake. So let's add a few items now. I like to add this button, add multiple products. It really helps me having a clear vision of my catalog of products. I can also navigate the different ranges that I have created through the tags here. So I could go here in the camping range and add this item. I could use a different one here. Nope, no product here. So I'll go to the hiking range and add this one. And add this one. Let's just add a few items here, and we'll be good to go. So let's save. So I now have created my purchase order. I can share this document with my supplier. So to do that easily, you have an action button right here. You can click on action and click on send by email. Here I'm using an email template that is ready to use for this scenario. For information, if you need to create these templates, you have to go to the settings and then email templates. This is where you can create different templates that will also help you to save more times when you get to sharing new documents with your suppliers or customers as well. Of course, the PDF is attached directly to the email, and I can send this right away to my supplier. So now that we have created this purchase order, um, the incoming stock is updated. So everything that's here, every quantities that is listed in the purchase order is added to the incoming quantities because we can expect to receive these quantities. So now let's move forward, and immediately we are 2 weeks ahead from now, and we actually receive these goods. So we can click on receive products. So this will generate a new document. It's called a delivery, and that lists everything we are receiving. And if I hit save, I'm saving this delivery, and if I click on receive products, it will just move these incoming quantities to my on-hand stock level. So I'll be able to actually receive these items, and the quantities will be added to my on-hand inventory. So we've done this. This is pretty simple and straightforward. But now let's make this a little more complex. So what we're about to do is we are about to mix this scenario with the possibility that we have of using different locations. So what I will do next, I will create a purchase order and receive a part of my order in one location, another part in a second location, and we will imagine that at some point the supplier will just call us and say, okay, look, for whatever reason I'll not be able to ship this one item to you. This is something that can happen, and you need to know how to deal with the situation in Airplane, because we don't want to have false information in your incoming quantities. So let's do just that. So to save some time, I'm just going to go back to my purchase order right here, and I'm going to duplicate that order. So I'll go to action and duplicate. So it's the exact same document that I'm about to create here. Same items, same currency, same taxes, etc. So I'm just saving that as it is. So now that we have this purchase order, let's receive products. And as you will see in the delivery, I have the possibility to select some items. And what I want here is just to add just some items to one location and some other in a different location. So I'll select the first location here. I'm going to select, for example, showroom, and I'm going to just uncheck the items that I'm not receiving in showroom and just leaving here the one that I'm receiving to my location. So let's say that. Let's receive the items, go back to the purchase order. We can see that the status has changed. It is partially delivered. We have two quantities that are remaining to be received. So I can go again and click on receive products to create a new delivery. I'll just uncheck that because I'm not receiving it yet. And I'll change the location to, for example, this one. So I'll receive just one quantity, one of a product in a different location. And I click receive products. Let's go back to the purchase order. It's still partially delivered because we have yet one quantity to receive. We can also see here the different deliveries that have been created from this purchase order. So we have two different deliveries. That's okay. That's correct. And now let's say that the supplier called and told us that, look, the quantity that I've not yet shipped to you, I'll not be able to do that. And so, well, in this case, we need to inform Airplane that we are no longer expecting this one item that is still in the purchase order. So in order to do that, we'll need to go to the action here, action button, and mark the order as completed. So completing the order manually will change the status, but it will also update the incoming inventory. So you will make sure that you don't no longer have this item that is in the incoming stock level, and you'll make sure that you have correct information in your incoming stock level. Just for information, this also works for sales. Well, we're not obviously not talking about sales today, but it also works for sales. If you're no longer able, for example, to ship some items that the customer had ordered, you can also mark the sales order as complete as well, and it works the same way. So that's the method number one. We've covered it. We've made the things a little more complex. Let's move on to another method that is replenishment based on your reorder points. So before we get to that, let me talk a little bit about the reorder points and the alerts, which are two features that can work together. They can work at the same time, and you will be able to make the best out of the reorder points if you're using alerts as well. So the reorder points, so let's move to another menu here. So under inventory, let's open the reorder menu. So reorder points, to give a definition about the reorder points are like a minimum quantity. So you may have some items in your catalog that are best sellers items. You don't want to be out of stock of certain items. You want to make sure you always have enough of these items in your inventory. And so you want to use these minimum quantities, so these reorder points. So using this reorder feature, Airplane will list, you will see here all the items that are below their reorder points, that are an available stock that is below their reorder points. So you can see here Airplane is displaying the reorder point, the available quantity, and also the missing. So the missing quantities to get to the reorder point. So this is one feature that you can use, uh, and of course you will first need to assign these reorder points. So reorder points need to be assigned to each item. So this is something you can do from here, inventory bulk update. You have a reorder column. So if you need to allocate a certain quantity as a reorder point here, you can just go here and say, for example, okay, new reorder point for this item is for example 10 here, and it's save. Of course, if you have multiple rows, if you have about 100 rows or more, I'll rather recommend that you do that through a CSV or an Excel update, so you can export everything here to a CSV or an Excel update and just assign your different reorder points through the update process. That will be more straightforward. Here we have about 50 entries, so for more, I'll suggest that you use the update method through a CSV or Excel file. So now that you know how to assign these reorder points, let me show you the alerts. So alerts can be created here under settings. We go to alerts. So this is where Airplane shows me the existing alerts, but of course this is where I can create new alerts. So you will be able, for example, to create an alert based on items that are below their reorder point. So if you need to receive alerts anytime there are some items that are below the reorder points, you can do that as well. Of course, we have different triggers. We have, for example, out of stock, out of available stock, out of stock for the on hand as well. You'll just need to add some recipients here. You can even add a different location. So if you have, for example, multiple location and you just want these alerts to work on a few locations, you'll be able to select the one you are interested to. And that's pretty much it. And you just hit save and create this new alert so that you don't miss on the information when some items go below their reorder point. So now that you know how to assign these reorder points and how the alerts work, we have the information, we have allocated these reorder points to our products. So now it's time to take action. So actually, the idea is to create purchase orders and reorder based on these reorder points. So to do that, you just need to go back to the inventory here and open the reorder menu. So from this page, I'm able to create reorders. So there are two methods to do that. There's one that consists in selecting a few items and click on reorder selected products. And the other method consists in reordering by location. So if I click on reorder by location and I select, for example, showroom, I'll be able to start the creation of one or multiple purchase orders at the same time. So here you can see we have quantities on the right side. These are the missing quantities. That doesn't mean you need to reorder these missing quantities. You can adjust the quantities. It could be less, it could be more than this. So this is something you can change. Same thing for the supplier. I have supplier that are already listed here for my products. This is because these are the default supplier for my product, but I can change that information and order everything to the same supplier. If I click next, I'll just go to the details of my purchase order. I'll be able to select the currency, the purchase price, had a discount, etc. So if I hit save, I'll just create a new purchase order. That's it. So this is more about how to configure the purchase order we are about to create. So this is it. This is how the reorder works when you want to use the reorder points. And of course, my recommendation is to use this reorder feature in addition to the alerts, because you actually save some time and don't miss on what's happening in your inventory. Let's move on to a third method that I called just in time. I don't exactly know if it's the right way to say it, but the idea, I guess, for some, maybe some of you, is to create reorder based on existing sales order, and this is also something that Airplane can help you to do. So to show you, let me open an existing sales order. Let's open a different one. There's already something that's created here. Here, let's duplicate that sales order. I just want to start fresh with a different sales order, so that you can see just that. So the things that I wanted to show you is this part of the sales order, manage back order. There are two buttons that are interesting for us today here. That is the button create purchase order and back order. So if I click on purchase order, it will propose the creation of a purchase order based on what's exactly is it the sales order. So it will just copy what's in the sales order and put that into a purchase order. And if we use back order, so this will work only if you have missing quantities in your sales order. So you are kind of running out of stock for shipping this order to the customer, and the button back order will just add the missing quantities in a purchase order. So of course, you can do that from one sales order, but you can also do that in multiple sales order, which is really practical at the end of the day, because you can keep on creating different sales order, maybe for multiple customers, and you can add these different reorders or back orders into the same purchase order. So let me show you how this works. And this is also working for the different methods, so it's also compatible with the reorder points, or when you are creating a purchase order from scratch manually. This also works. So to show you how this works exactly, so here we have the possibility of creating a new purchase order, but we can as well add these items to an existing purchase order for that same supplier. So if we hit save, it will just add these items to my existing purchase order. And when I open that active purchase order, I can easily see on the left here all the sales order that are related to the purchase order we've created here, which means that when I will actually receive this purchase order and create my delivery, I'll be able to make the shipments for all these sales order, and I will not miss that information. I will definitely save some time when I actually receive this order from my supplier. I'll just go straight to the warehouse and ship these orders, and I'll not lose any time to do so. So this was method number three. One last thing I'd like to talk about, speaking about restocking, and that is not really related to restocking, that's the drop shipping features. So some of you may even not use the restocking feature because they use drop shipping. So just so you know, we have this feature in Airplane. So I'll not get into the details of how it works, but just so you know, from the sales order, so if we open a new sales order, there is this toggle right here, drop shippings, that you can activate if you need to use drop shipping in one of your sales. So we'll probably get into more details in a different webinar next time, but to do so, to do that, you will need to come back and attend a new and attend a new webinar. So I'll not get into the details, but just so you know, the feature is there. So if you do not need restocking options, you can also use that one, that is drop shipping. The last and final point of this presentation is the valuation and the tracking of your the cost of tracking the cost of your items. So speaking about the valuation, one important thing about Airplane is that Airplane uses the moving average cost method. So basically, it's an average cost. So anytime you add items to your inventory, anytime you add new quantities, for example, it could be the creation of a delivery, or it could be the creation of a stock entry. So anytime you have new quantities added to your inventory, we will take a look at the cost, and we will just recalculate the average cost of your items. And based on this information, we'll be able to give you your valuation. So to track your inventory valuation, you can go here under intelligence, and you have under the inventory section right here, you have product valuation and product valuation by date. So the product valuation reflects your valuation as it is right now, with the quantities, the moving average cost, and of course your total valuation and by product. And the other one, product valuation by date, is just the same report, but we have a date picker, and you can choose any date in the past, apply that filter, and it will automatically recalculate your valuation based on the on end stock level and moving average cost at that date in particular. So just so you know, we have these two reports that are available right here. um, so one important thing to really remember about this valuation is that it's based on average cost, of course, and that it gets updated anytime you make either a delivery. So to show you, let's open a delivery here. So first example, the making of a delivery. So here we have a unit price. So this unit price will be used to just recalculate your moving average cost for that item in particular. Same thing for stock entries. So stock entry is an operation where you just simply add new quantities to your any of your locations. So we can select here, so you can see here. So here we have the cost field. So this cost will also be used to just re-update the moving average cost of that item. And for those of you who recently joined Airplane, who maybe didn't have the occasion to create stock entries or deliveries, well, in this case, you can count on the field that is called initial cost. So when you're creating new items in Airplane, this is also something that you can update on existing items. But anyway, when you are new to Airplane, you have this possibility to add an initial cost to your item. So this would be like the unit cost, but also the starting point to calculate the moving average cost. So it will be used as your initial moving average cost, so to say. And it will also enable you to have a valuation, even though you haven't created any documents yet. So if you didn't do that, if you recently joined Herplane and you haven't took the time to add initial cost to your items, I'll really invite you to do that and make sure you have an initial cost associated with all your items so that you can take advantage of the valuation report. One last thing about the valuation. We spoke about these two reports, so product valuation and product valuation by date. Just know that in the product valuation report, if you are in the situation where you are kind of lost where about what's your valuation, and you don't really understand the value that you see for a certain product. For example, we have that button on the right, history. You can click on that and you will see the inventory details, so you'll be able to see all the adjustment made and documents created for that documents for that sorry for that product, so you can exactly understand how exactly you get to that valuation. So you'll be able to see every adjustment on the moving average cost, and this will give you some details, and that will answer your questions about that. So definitely not a button to forget about, this history button on the right in the valuation report. So we are approaching the end of this presentation already. It's time for me to answer your questions. So I'll get back to the chat and see if we have some question here. So does Airplane manage FIFO? So no, no, it doesn't yet. It will soon, but right now it's only moving average cost. That's the only method that is available right now. Does replenishment via order points takes into account the incoming stock level? Yes, of course. That's a good question. If we, for example, go back to the reorder here, the short answer is yes. It does. It does work like this. So if you have, for example, incoming quantities for certain products, it will be taking into consideration. The good example is here. For example, this item, you have three incoming quantities. You have a reorder point of 90. You have 57 available quantities. So if we do a sum, 57 and 3, we get to 60. And so the missing is 30. So yes, it does take into account the incoming quantities for the calculation of the missing quantities. How to manage markdown. Markdown can be managed through the multiple location feature. So as I was explaining, multiple location can be virtual locations. So in the situation where you need to track markdown, I would, if I were you, create a different location for that, and just move quantities that you want to put in markdown, and I will just create, for example, stock movements from a location, from your main location to the markdown location, and this will give you the possibility to track the value in markdown, because we have this, for example, here. If I go back to the product valuation report, you can see here we use the filters, and we can filter on a certain location. So I'll be able to, for example, filter on what's in the markdown location only. And of course, when you just need to check on your stock levels, you have the possibility to display some locations, so not the one that is in markdown. So if we go to stock levels here, and we go to filters location, we could say does not contain, and here I would select, for example, markdown, if I don't want to have false information here, and just look at my main location and not what's in the markdown location. So that could be a workaround. So it could work like that if you need to keep track of your markdown items. I did not understand the drop shipping part. Can you say again what changes in term of stock? Well, when you're using the drop shipping feature, usually the quantities will not be delivered to you. They will be delivered from your supplier directly to your customer. It means that there are no adjustments to be made in your inventory, and it works the same also when you're creating the sales order. So usually, if I were to create a sales order that is non drop shipping, in this case it will generate a reservation and create reserved inventory. But in the case of drop shipping, if I use drop shipping, it will not create a reservation, and it will not update my inventory this way. And same thing when the goods are delivered, it will not be taken from my inventory, because this goes directly from the supplies warehouse to my customer. Okay, well, I'm checking on the time, and that's about just about 40 minutes. Thank you very much. I hope this was useful. Before we say goodbye, we are interested in your feedback regarding this webinar format. So before leaving, I invite you to answer the quick survey that will appear in the chat. It's already there. So tell us if we met your expectation or not. If we did not succeed, tell us that too. We'll try to do better next time. Of course, two resources I'd like to share with you. This one is our help center. This is where we publish tutorials. This is where we publish videos and articles to help you better navigate our system. And for those of you who missed it, our last webinar was on sales management. It was hosted by our co-founder Arnaud, and it's available already on YouTube. And here is the link to the replay if you want to watch that again. And I invite you to do it. I also inform you that we will continue our series of webinars next month. We will address the theme of the kits and assembly. That's the next one on the schedule. I hope this presentation was useful for you. See you next time. Goodbye, everyone, and thank you very much.